Hello everyone and welcome back to Royville in 4Color. My name is Stefan, and without further ado, let's get into the books. I do want to say that I did not do these in reading order. Usually I just kind of go with what I read in the order that I read them. However, the very first issue I read really needs to be the last. So, let's get into them. The first book I have for you today from my polls this week is Jay Garrick, The Flash. You can see that there, Jay Garrick with his daughter Judy. And this is issue number 5. It's written by Jeremy Adams and Diego Olorgetu. Getu is the artist. And this is just a fun, light read. He's still dealing with Dr. Elemental, and he needs to kind of hide his daughter, so he goes down to Brazil and meets up with Dr. Midnight. And I really love that Dr. Midnight is in this issue because he's one of my probably 2 favorite Justice Society of America, with the other one being Our Man. It's just a fun, light read. So, yeah, the plan really doesn't work. And she gets kidnapped anyway. But, fun, light read. Liked seeing Robert, the robot bear, again. And loved seeing Dr. Midnight. The next one I have for you is Wolverine 44. And I really kind of like this cover. All right. And if you've seen my previous videos, this is Sabretooth War number 4. And I'm just not digging the story. However, I did like this one a lot more than the previous issues in this storyline. It's written by Benjamin Percy and Victor LaValle. Now, the previous issues had Victor LaValle's name first. Maybe Benjamin Percy is actually writing more of this issue, and maybe that's why I like it a little bit more. I'm not exactly sure. The art is by Corey Smith. And this issue was a lot less gore for gore's sake. Still heads in jars. I don't really understand that concept for the Marvel Universe. But it was more of Logan kind of looking back on his history with Sabretooth. And I really liked that aspect of it. They also, him and Colossus and Domino hunt down one of the alternate versions of Creed, who I call Captooth. It's a Captain America version of Sabretooth. And it was just a good read, a little thought-provoking with Logan's memories. And I thought this one was a lot better. So I am going to stay with it. If this issue was as captivating to me as the last issue, I probably would have stopped with this one, but I'm going to keep it up. All right. The next issue I have for you is Power Girl number 6. And looks like Supergirl guest stars on this one. And this is written by Leah Williams, and the art is by Marguerite Savage. And Marguerite, I love your name. I just got to tell you, you sound like a superhero already. Marguerite Savage. Anyway, not really much to say about this one. I liked it. It was a fun read. It's about Supergirl and Power Girl going on a drug bust in Fairyland. Wow. In Fairyland. And it links back to the cat adventure in the previous issue. So, yeah. Fun read. Power Girl in Fairyland. I did like it though. All right. I'm kind of going through these. I have a lot of them. So the next issue I have for you is Red Sonja. Love that cover with the orc head there, the monster head. And this is Red Sonja number 8. It is written by Torunn Grønbekk, and the art is by Walter Giovanni. I think it's Giovanni. So Red Sonja has accidentally released this old powerful wizard by the name of Kulan Gath. And he's going around killing wizards, and the worlds, or the veils between the worlds, are weak, or he's doing something to awaken monsters. And there's a bunch of monsters in the material world now, and Red Sonja is vowing to stop Gath and what he's doing. No offense to the creative team, but the best thing about this book is the cover. I think the idea of what's going on is keeping me in the book, but the execution of it is just not as compelling for me. There's another series. It's a short series called The Savage Red Sonja, and I'm enjoying that one a lot more. Maybe I'm still reading it because she's in kind of the Conan universe, and if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I'm a huge fan of Conan. I guess I'm sticking with it for the covers. Yeah. Sorry. All right. So the next one I have is World Tree number 8. And they always have such compelling covers on this issue, and on this series. And in this one, this is written by James Tynion IV, and I'm a big fan of his. He's also doing, if you watch my one-shots, he also is writing the Justice League Dark series, and I'm really digging that, really digging this, so I guess I'm a Tynion fan. And the art is by Fernando Blanco. Fernando Blano. And I had no idea what was going on with the series. I really liked it, and I had no idea what was going on. However, this is the issue where we get a big plot dump and we figure out what's going on and what the main characters have to do. And now, because I heard that it was supposed to be like 75 issues, or it was a long form story, and as I was reading the early issues, I'm like, what is going on? How is this going to be 75 issues? And now I know. And I think this issue is a great jumping on point for what's going to be happening. The main characters have gotten their mission to save the world, and they are reluctantly going off to take care of things. And you still have the government conspiracy and various forces working with and working against the main characters. It's a really good story, and this is a great jumping on point because now you know what the heck's supposed to be going on. World Tree, number 8, recommend. All right, the next one I have for you is Detective Comics, and a pretty cool cover. Of course, this is kind of the cover for the backup story. I'll get to that in a second. This is Detective Comics 1082. And Bruce Wayne is still in the desert trying to find himself. There's this plot where Dr. Hurt is basically leading Bruce down this examination of, is Gotham better with Batman or Bruce Wayne? Could you have done a lot more as Bruce Wayne than you are doing with Batman? You're kind of making it what it is by being this vigilante. And it's a character study for Bruce Wayne and if he should continue that. And I really don't know how this is going to end and how Bruce Wayne is going to continue being Batman after all these psychological thoughts that he's having. And I really like the art. I like the examination of Bruce Wayne being Batman in this, and I'm very interested in where it goes. The art is pretty good. There are various artists in this. This is being written by Ram V. And side note, once again, Justice League Dark, if I complete that series, he takes over from Tinian. So this is actually pretty cool for me. And that is the writer. And then the artist is Riccardo Federici, and then Stefano Raphael. You can definitely tell that there's two art styles. There's the desert, the one when Bruce Wayne's in the desert, and then there's another story, not a side story, but kind of a B story in the main story of the Question trying to solve a case in Gotham City while Batman is gone. And that's honestly, as much as I like kind of the Batman, Bruce Wayne psychological stuff, I'm really digging the Renee Montoya subplot with her in Gotham and just kind of having the Question run around Gotham doing stuff. Not only that, but Cassandra Cain shows up as well. So a lot of fun in this book. Then at the end, there's a backup story with Dr. Hurt and all of his victims basically trying to kill him, take him out, because they know that they've been screwed over by Dr. Hurt. Their lives have been destroyed, and so they're going to get rid of him. They're fed up, and they're going to seek out their own justice. And something crazy happens at the end of that. Don't want to spoil it for you if you want to read that. And that's actually a different creative team. That one's written by Dan Waters, which I don't know that I've ever read anything else by Dan Waters. And the art is by Christopher Mitten. So that's kind of a fun read. I wouldn't buy the book for it, but definitely it's just a little added jewel at the end of the main story. All right, so let me flip my notes over here. So I'm trying to get through these pretty quickly. So the next one I got is, here we go, Conan the Barbarian, number 8. And this is written by the amazing creative team of Jim Zub. And I'm sorry, Doug, but until you come on or I get an interview, I have no idea. Doug Braithwaite. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But Jim and Doug, once again, you are knocking it out of the park. I cannot recommend this book enough. Conan is possessed by these spirits that are allied with Thulsa Doom. And he is trying to fight this possession by just using the memories of who he was. And you kind of go through some of that while the main plot is going on where Conan has to do these spirits' bidding. And then at the end, I thought the last issue had a big cliffhanger. No. Jim was like, yeah, okay, so he's possessed, big cliffhanger. Nope. We're going to give you even a bigger cliffhanger at the end of this one, and it is awesome. I cannot wait for the next issue. Jim and Doug, please continue this. Please, you can write this for the rest of your lives. I don't care. I'm loving this book. I cannot recommend this book enough. Conan the Barbarian by Titan. Awesome. All right. So we have two more until the one that I had to wait till the end for. And this one, as everybody knows, I like my Thor. So this is the Immortal Thor, number 7. And no, he's not fighting Beast Boy, just so you know. This is a really good read. I'm really enjoying the Immortal Thor storyline. This is written by Al Ewing. 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 So Al Ewing. And the art is by Martin Coccolo. And I think the art and the writing are really good. In this issue, it just so takes me back to the old myths, the old Norse myths, and I just love it. Thor and Loki. Loki is basically taking Thor kind of through this vision quest to try to figure out how they can stop Titanos, the first Thunderer, from earlier in the series. And I'm just really digging it. They go and they meet this god, this being called Utgard Loki. And he puts him on trials. He puts not only Thor through trial, but he puts Loki through trial. And it's so reminiscent of the Norse myths. Thor has to drink this from this horn, and he has to keep drinking it, but it's just it doesn't taste good, but he just has to keep doing it. He has to wrestle a cat that becomes huge, and it's just so much like the old myths and the trials of Thor, and it's really well written. I'm really digging this. We also, if you remember from my previous videos, there's this dead buffalo-headed executive of this corporation that is talking to the Enchantress, and he's reading everything that's going on in this out of a comic book. And I was like, what is going on here? Well, they describe what that is in like a sentence, and it makes total sense. So that's going forward. The plot's going forward. A great, fun, mythological read in Marvel Comics for our Thor character and our Loki character. I really like this. Honestly, I think the Thor stories have been kicking butt recently. Thor God of Thunder, Thor written by Donny Gates, and the Immortal Thor. I'm just really digging all this stuff. Thanks to the writers and the artists. Looking good. Can't recommend Immortal Thor more than just you need to read it. It's a great read. All right. Now, we just had bangers this week. That's all I can say. Everything is just one after another great stuff. The next one I have for you is The Penguin, number 7. And I really like this cover. It's so good, so good. All right, so Penguin number 7. This is written by Tom King, and I'm a big fan of Tom King. First heard about him when he was writing Mr. Miracle, and I've liked pretty much everything that I've read from him since. And then the inside artist is Steven Subic, and I think maybe the cover artist is Mayalo. I'm not exactly sure. I should have written that down. I apologize to the cover artist. If you ever listen or see this, let me know and I'll interview you about it. I have been loving this. Usually I'm not so much into books about the villain, but this is just written so well. It's such a good gangster story, and I'm really loving that. In this, the Penguin is using Batman to get what he wants, and you can kind of see from Batman's perspective that, the Penguin thinks Cobblepot at this point thinks he's using me, but he's actually not. I know what's going on. And there's actually kind of an origin in here of the Penguin, the kind of the moniker and why he is the Penguin, why Cobblepot decided to create that moniker for himself. And I loved that part of the story, the why the Penguin exists and the crazy things that he did back in the day because he was the Penguin. I really like it. I cannot recommend this one enough as well. See, every issue, it just seems, is just building and building on each other. These are great times to read comics. Great week to read comics. So, yeah, so can't wait to see what happens next. I don't know how long this is going to last, how long this series is going to last, but I think if it maintains its ability right now, I am going to be in it for the long haul. That is the Penguin number 7. All right, so let me fit my notes back over because the last book that I need to talk about is the first book I read. And I just want you to know, I know I've been saying it through this video, but there is going to be a huge spoiler for this issue because I just have to talk about it. All right. The first issue I read this week for my polls was Avengers Twilight number 3. You see Miss Marvel on the cover there. I think that's a good Alex Ross cover there. And this is written by Chip Zdarsky, who I am a fan of. And the inside art is Daniel Acuna. So, old Steve Rogers has the serum, and it's kind of a totalitarian government, and he's fighting against the man because they've lost sight of what America is really about. Kind of standard, Captain America stuff that's kind of warmed my heart. I've always been kind of a fan of his ideals for the American people. But that being said, that's not what this video is about. It's about the issues, the comic issues. So he decides that he's going to break Tony Stark out of the raft because the raft is now not in the future, in this dystopian future. The raft is more of a lab as opposed to a prison. So there's a shot of all this tech from various villains and maybe even some of the villains themselves being experimented on. Well, in one of the rooms, they have Tony Stark's head in a large jar. Now, wait a minute. What is this, Marvel, with these heads in jars? Have you been watching too much Futurama? I mean, seriously, get over it. Anyway, so he has to break Tony out, his head out of the raft. And he goes with one of the new defenders, a younger man that is allied with Luke Cage. And he meets up with I don't want to really spoil this part. So I guess I got to leave something because I'm going to spoil the end just so you know that's totally happening. But then he meets up with a Hawkeye character. And they go through the raft and they kind of have to fight their way through to get to Tony, and they get Tony, but then the alarm goes off and they have to fight their way out. Well, Tony's son, James, is now part of this totalitarian government, and this is the first time he's actually decided to, he's kind of a stooge of the totalitarian government, but it's the first time he's decided to actually create Iron Man armor and wear it himself. And so he is fighting Captain America while there's this huge storm and everything's getting exploded because of Iron Man and everything, and people are dying. So he's like, I'm not going to let anybody die, even if, I have to go down fighting, whatever. So this shows up. So Kamala Khan decides to help out, and you see this giant, I don't really understand her powers. I think they're different in the movies and the TV show as opposed to the comics. I like the concept of the character, but I never really read anything with her in it. So, but basically she's like giant woman and she's going to help out everybody else while Captain America is fighting the new Iron Man. And he's older now. Young Stark has all the power of this new armor, and Steve is not, getting the upper hand here. And so, okay, here's where it is. This is the why I had to wait until the end for this book. So, the last 2 pages, okay? So, Tony, young Tony, son Tony, and Iron Man are fighting with Captain America, and he is beaten and battered, and obviously, the villain now is taking his, victory speech. Oh, you can't do anything. What are you gonna do now that you're defeated, basically? And all, and the art is just so good in this issue. He's just down, and it is raining, and then all of a sudden, a lightning strike, boom, hits James Stark, Iron Man, and he is like, what is going on here? What are you doing? And Steve's like, basically, I'm not going to paraphrase because I can't remember exactly what happens. But he says, so you need to read it. You need to read this book. And he says, I do what I always do when things are hard. I prayed. And oh my, I'm getting chills right now as you just see in the next panel, huge above Captain America, Thor. That's where the lightning came from. Oh my God, it was amazing. And then Thor just, just standing above, sitting on like a ledge, looking down. Hey, Cap. Or Captain, I think he says. It's been a wolf's age. Should we assemble? And I just roared like I was in a movie theater. It was so awesome. I can't say it was interesting. It was amazing. Oh my gosh. This was such a good issue if you can pick it up. So okay, you got to pick up a bunch of these others. You got to pick up Penguin. You got to pick up Conan. But if you can only pick up one issue, this one. Avengers Twilight #3. My Man shows up in rare form. So great. So great. Yeah. Anyway, that was the end of my polls for this week. Is there any that you liked? Have you read any of these issues? I'd really like to get your take on them. Also, have you read Avengers Twilight? Should we scream in excitement together at the end there? And I kind of want to ask, I know that I go through these pretty quickly, and it's because I have so many of them. I usually have about 10 polls a week, and I just kind of am able to touch on them a little bit. Do you like that I do this? I mean, I still also do, and I'm probably going to continue regardless, doing the one-shots where I get more of a deep dive into just one issue. Do you like that format better? Would you like to just see me do more of the one-shots as opposed to maybe this? Or do you like both? Or do you like this more? The one-shots do take a lot less time, so I probably will continue to do those regardless. But I'd just like to know what you think about the format. Do you like this format? Do you like that I kind of touch on these modern books and maybe give you a hint of if you'd like to grab them or not? Or maybe if you should stay away from them. I already spent the money, so... All right, so yeah, please let me know what you think. Please subscribe if you like this content. Hit the notification bell because I'm dropping videos a couple times a week at least now. And leave a comment. I'd really like to hear from you. Part of the reason I do this is because I'm a comic geek and I just love to talk about comics. I love to read comics. I love to look at comics. So I'd love to get in contact with you guys and or ladies and see what you think about these comics. So, all that being said, remember what your mom always used to say. If you have to be a dick, be a Grayson. Thanks so much for watching again, everybody. Keep reading.